Welcome to Virtuous Tabletop, our virtual tabletop D&D campaign in which you are the gods. Our story, your world. To learn how you can contribute to the game world, follow the links in the description below. High noon. The sun blazes down on a small village, its streets curiously empty. We pan across buildings under construction and arrive at a signpost from which hangs a glimmering plaque made of gold and mahogany that reads, "Welcome to Marrowhaven." A door opens and a child emerges from a house. We follow him as he scampers off to the village square, where a great crowd of hundreds of people has gathered. He snakes his way through the throng of elves, dwarves, halflings, and mostly humans, until he can see the platform that they are all gathered around, on which stand 4 figures. 2 guards flank a female halfling standing on a barrel, her arms bound, mouth gagged, and a noose around her neck that hangs from primitive gallows. A man with a long mustache and a cane paces slowly, and a half-orc in priestly robes is sermonizing, finishing up a passage from an open tome he holds out before him, eyes cast skyward as he speaks the final words from memory. "And the virtuous shall find their way to the shining halls of Marduk the All-Father." He closes the tome. Nick, why don't you go ahead and describe what this priest looks like?
Alright. This priest stands at about 6'6". He's clearly a rather large individual, which is common for a half-orc. He has black hair that's shaved on the top of his head, giving him a sort of monk-type cut, and he sports a thick, medium-length beard. His skin is an olive green-brown, typical of many half-orcs, his eyes amber. Priestly robes obscure the scale mail and war-pick he carries, and a holy symbol of Marduk hangs on a simple leather thong about his neck.
Thank you, Nick. The man with the cane speaks up. "Thank you kindly, Brother Yaram. May the gods show mercy, for justice shall be done here today. For we protect our own here in Marrowhaven, and the crimes of an outsider against one of our own cannot be tolerated. This halfling, Essa, stands accused of stealing from our own Kurt Vaughn, an honest merchant and upstanding citizen of Marrowhaven." He limps over to the halfling in the noose, brushing a lock of black, greasy hair off his forehead. "On these charges," he moves his face right close to the halfling's, staring at her with his bloodshot eyes. The stench of hard liquor stings her eyes. "How do you plead?" Jen, why don't you go ahead and describe what Essa looks like?
Essa is a female halfling. She dons a green traveling cloak, and her curly auburn brown hair is about shoulder length and worn half up, half down, although you probably can't really tell from how disheveled she probably is from noose and everything. Although she immediately comes off as shy and quiet, her hazelnut brown eyes have an intensity that only short, quiet people tend to radiate. You know what I mean.
And through the gag, does she try to respond?
She says not guilty, except it comes off of
The man with the cane turns back to the crowd. "Hell, sounds like guilty to me." The crowd erupts in laughter. We focus in on one member of the crowd that looks strangely out of place. A dwarf bearing an inscrutable expression on his face, with a backpack slung across his shoulders and a second in hand. Doug, why don't you describe what this dwarf looks like?
No taller than your average dwarf. He is dark-skinned with slightly prominent canines whenever he smiles. He has a thick mohawk and curious leather armor that looks less robust than your average warrior's leather armor. There's a deepness into his curious eyes.
Thank you, Doug. A man in the crowd whispers to another man, "Funny thing is, Kurt made the whole thing up. She didn't steal nothing from no one." Both men laugh. The whispered conversation takes place in earshot of another man, a knight bearing the symbol of the Templar Order. Dave, why don't you describe what this man looks like?
Well, he's fairly tall, standing just a bit over 6 feet, wearing full chainmail, so definitely well armored. He has a scar from his right temple here, all the way down to below his cheekbone, I guess. And he has dark hair, a little bit. His skin looks a bit white, more white than usual, showing that he stays indoors or doesn't get that much exposure to the sun. That's actually from where he's from. And yeah.
And does this Templar respond in any way to this whispered conversation?
He definitely frowns, but he keeps it to himself, though.
The man with the cane slowly paces away from the halfling, and he repeats, "May the gods show mercy." As he reaches the edge of the platform, he turns to the two guards flanking the halfling. "Let her hang." With a grin, guard kicks a barrel out from under Essa's feet as the rope goes taut. Her neck doesn't snap. Instead, she dangles slowly and painfully, choking to death.
Sir William starts advancing into the crowd. Where is he exactly? How far in the back?
Looking at the battle map here, Sir William stands there. So there's, there's people in the way. It's pretty crowded, but again, he's what, maybe 30, 35 feet away from the edge of the platform.
Alright, he definitely, pushes his way through everyone. Bashing his way through, and he says, "Halt!"
Sir William shoves his way to the front of the crowd, says, "Halt." The man with the cane turns to him. The halfling, presumably maybe kicking, trying to gain footing on something. I guess Jen could tell us more about that. But face turning red.
Yep, definitely choking to death and trying desperately to grab something with her legs, or at least harm something with her legs, because at this point she's pretty darn angry and
Okay.
choking to death.
Sir William walks up the stage. It's at this moment that the half-orc cleric moves forward and says, "I think if this knight, as he appears, has something to say, it should be heard before the unfortunate accused perishes." And he also moves towards the halfling from behind, actually, to see if he can grab hold of her legs and, at least for the time being, stop her from dying.
She's still kicking madly, by the way. She can't see anything anymore. That's probably obscuring her vision. Internally, of course.
As Sir William mounts the platform and Yaram begins to approach, the two guards move to intercept any advancement on the halfling.
Sir William draws his sword and says, "Stand aside."
The man with the cane spins about and says, "What is the meaning of this, Sir William?"
"On what proof do you have to charge her with death?"
Suddenly, red-faced with a vein throbbing in his forehead. Proof! Proof? I am Shire Reeve Everett Wolf, appointed by the king himself to rule over this county, and you will submit to my authority, Sir William.
I still draw my sword. And I stare down at those two soldiers and I say, stand aside.
The two guards draw their swords. You can see they have swords, they have crossbows hanging at their belts. One also has a hand crossbow in addition to his regular crossbow.
Yarum calls out, "Everyone, please, there's no need to fight. No one needs to die this day. The All-Father himself wishes to see no blood spilled, no hangings or battles."
Well, I take it that Sir William is going to move forward with offensive action, so why don't you go ahead and roll initiative.
I wanted to just intimidate them, but
Well, you're acting aggressively, so maybe they're going to defend themselves if you're moving forward to intimidate.
Alright, I rolled the initiative.
It might be best if the rest of you roll as well. Given Essa likely has rounds to live, she should be acting in initiative order at this point.
Where are tokens?
Has anyone found their tokens?
I have.
Here, I'll...
I
I'm
have.
standing in front of two shields.
Battle grid, Doug. Zoom out until you see us.
That should zero you in.
I'm gonna have to run maptool from my laptop.
Or not? Alright. Someone else, Nick, you want to roll initiative for Doug?
Sure.
You have control.
It is done.
Those are some pretty terrible initiatives. Sir William is up first with a 12.
Well, he tries to, well, okay, out of character, since I have been training these men, I know them, right?
You do.
Or do I recognize one of them, at least?
You recognize both of them.
Okay, so, and I can tell what kind of, like, combat skill, are they good or bad? I can, like, intimidate them by using that, like, telling them, I can easily cut through the two of you.
Yeah, that'd be fair to say.
Alright, so that's how I intimidate them. I tell them that I have seen you two fight, and I can cut through the two of you like carving a key piece of cake. Stand aside. And I bare my teeth.
Go ahead and roll the intimidate check.
Oh God, please don't fail me. Oh.
The two guards, initially, one of them tall, one of them fat, initially standing defiantly, menacing, suddenly have their swords begin to waver, and they look at each other, uncertain, and then look back at the livid man with the cane, who spits in rage. He is a knight. I am a Shire Reeve. If you do not listen to me, you will hang! Is there anything else you want to do on your turn, Sir William?
Sir William says, I guess he's a mayor?
He's a Shire Reeve.
Shire Reeve.
He is
Okay,
appointed
that's
by
the
the
title.
king. He is the law here. What he's doing is technically legal. He's probably not a very good Shire Reeve for doing this, and you can probably go report him for it, but technically what he's doing is legal.
Do I know something about this guy, right? Since I have been here to train all of his guardsmen, I take it that I met him and I've got some kind of knowledge about his personality?
Yes.
Okay, so do I know that he drinks a lot and all that stuff?
He's known to drink.
Okay. So I tell the two guardsmen, your Shire Reef is a drunken fool and a dishonor to your entire town. Stand aside. We will hear the halfling speak. Yeah! There goes the halfling!
So Essa. Is Essa trying to do anything? So formerly the guards were right at her flanks. As they had dragged her over here and held her in place and put the noose around her, my guess is she was probably struggling, and they were on top of her. They were jabbing her with their sword, making sure she wasn't doing anything funny. But right now, their attention is no longer on her. They're preoccupied with Yarum and Sir William, who've approached menacingly. So is Essa going to be doing anything right now?
Well, her hands are bound, right? So her first priority... Are her feet bound?
Her feet are not bound.
Well, I guess her first priority will still be to get her hands loose, and maybe she could do that with her feet in some really flexible manner. I'm not sure. Yeah, I think you can. If I'm hanging from my neck. I'm not sure if I'm going to be that present of mind, but maybe.
Alright, go ahead, roll an acrobatics check, rather. So with almost unbelievable flexibility, Essa raises her feet and works at the knots, untying them with unearthly grace. Unworldly grace, rather. What is this earth?
While
you speak
hanging.
of? While hanging.
While hanging. By her neck. This is pretty good.
By her neck,
Like a
no
pro.
less.
Can I do more?
That would be your standard action. If you want to do some minor stuff, you can.
How minor is it to try to hold onto the noose with my hands? So I'm not hanging quite just by my neck.
Alright, I think it's fair to say Essa reaches up and tries to alleviate some of the pressure on her throat and maybe catch a breath as the mustachioed man here, Shire Reeve Everett Wolf, spits out, "I will see all your families hanged if you do not arrest Sir William this instant." And that's all the cajoling that the fat guard needs, as he swings at Sir William with the pommel of his sword.
Seriously?
Sir William ducks behind this, the wooden stand of the gallows, easily dodging the fat guard's clumsy blow. Meanwhile, the crowd is sort of shocked. The shocked cries, but they're all very enraptured by what's happening. Is Muff, is this, the dwarf, Puff Moschin, is the dwarf doing anything at this point?
The dwarf is rather hesitant, but he is, shall we say, he's feeling the spores in the air, in case he needs to act.
And he likely doesn't have a very good view, given his height and the people in front of him.
Yeah, he's worming his way closer to the front.
Advance as many squares as you would like, rather.
The crowd would be right up to the edge?
I'd say up to there. So not including the square adjacent to the platform. The tall guard also takes a swing at Sir William. This one a little more competent, as the blade nearly strikes Sir William. Seems Sir William's lessons have been doing him some good, but still a miss. Yaram.
First question. If Yaram moves closer to Essa, will the guards be considering him a threat? Now that they're distracted with Sir Liam?
They seemed threatened when you approached the first time.
Okay, so they might strike out now that they're all freaked. Okay. Can Yaram deliver like a sort of historical religious sermon type thing? In the sense of, do you not see like how you are bad people and this man you serve is a tyrant throughout history? All tyrants got what they deserved eventually, so
calling upon some sort of historical, is that what you're referring to?
Yeah.
Well, you could. However, given your short time, your few days in Marrowhaven, you've gathered that there's something of a backwater people and not necessarily very knowledgeable about the past, so any reference to history would probably be lost on these people. You're still welcome to try.
In that case, Yaram puts his arm under his robe, draws out his war pick. He sort of pulls out his heavy shield and he speaks to the fat guard as he's distracted fighting Sir Liam and says, "I regret to do this, but it seems my path and yours are at odds today." And he attempts to knock him out with a blunt strike.
Roll it. The wood grants some cover, which I presume was not factored in.
Nope.
Despite this guard's girth, Yaram manages to miss. And Dave shakes his head in disappointment.
I was actually not gonna fight, but now I have no choice.
And Sir William's up.
Alright, well, I wasn't going to fight, to disapproval of all of the other viewers, I'm sure. But now that Sir William sees this half-orc suddenly swing a war pick, he changes his mind and says, I'm sorry. And then he swings at the tall guard. Can I just how does non-lethal damage work in this?
You just tell me that you're dealing non-lethal damage.
Yeah, I want to smack him.
Roll it. Sir William strikes with the flat of his blade, hitting the guard, who cries out in pain. Meanwhile, you notice that the Shire Reeve has, at some point, stepped off the platform and disappeared into the crowd.
And Sir William says, it seems that your Shire Reeve has already run away.
Essa.
She would like to undo the knot if that's possible.
The noose?
Or just loosen it enough that she can
roll another
climb out or something.
Acrobatics. And once again, Essa very easily slips out, and with a move and a minor left, she can still act. Red mark around her throat, the The purple hue that was gathering on her face starting to fade.
They're not looking at her, right? The guards?
Correct. They have not noticed that she has escaped her bonds.
She'll move away, look around, and undo her gag.
Alright. The fat guard turns to Yaram, taking a swing at him. Yaram easily parries the blow with his war pick. Puff Moschin.
Seeing that Essa is somewhat free, he approaches the platform, tosses the spare pack that was in his hand onto the platform, and says, "I believe this is yours, lassie. Excuse me while I follow the sheriff." And I guess a perception check to try and see where the sheriff went.
Roll it. Puff tries to look through the crowd, but he just can't seem to spot the Shire Reeve.
Or maybe he went this way.
Seriously? Duh.
The tall guard swings at Sir William. This time drawing blood. Sir William takes 6 points of damage. Yaram.
Yaram shifts over and says again to the fat guard. He says, "By the All-Father, I don't want to do this. Your Shire Reeve has abandoned you. There's no need to fight. Just put down your weapon." And he holds his own up defensively.
The man replies, "He's going to hang our family." Sir William. Now
Sir
bleeding.
William says, well, Sir William, after hearing him say that, he says, "And I'll hang him." Just right at the end there. Well, now that he's bleeding, he's actually gonna hit, you know. And he says to the taller guard, do I know his name? I should know his name.
Yes, it is Peter.
Good. Alright, so I say to him, "I see that my lessons have been useful to you, Peter." And I swing. I still don't want to kill him.
Roll it.
So I hit him with the flat side of my blade again.
Sir William spins about, striking the guard in the temple, knocking him out cold.
That looks harsh. Why is there a skeleton? He's not supposed to be dead.
Shh, 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 shh. He just collapses to the ground, unconscious.
Ah, that's good. But then Sir William sees that the halfling's already freed herself because, you know, she was so small, so he couldn't see behind the tall guy, and he smirks. A nimble one. And then he flanks. Well, he moves behind the fat guard, and what's his name?
Dom,
The half-orc.
you guys go with fast forwarding at this point?
Yeah, I was gonna say, you should drop your weapon name.
Alright, so Dave's good with fast forwarding. Can we get 2 more for a majority
Yep.
vote?
Sure.
Fast forward.
So the guard just seems too petrified to not keep fighting, but the fight he puts up is altogether pathetic, and between Yarum and Sir William, he's very easily knocked unconscious, and almost seems happy to be knocked unconscious. At that point, the crowd, after the first guard went down, the crowd started to become concerned, and cries of concern rang out, and people are dispersing and running away in fear. So with the crowd dispersing, the 2 guards down, that leaves the 4 of you, basically, as the town square is emptying up.
I try to look for the sheriff.
You don't immediately see him.
In fact, Puff comes back and he says, "I am sorry, strangers. The sheriff is missing. I could not find him."
The half-orc approaches the halfling and looks at her and says, "Are you all right? That was a close call, I'm afraid."
She just looks up at this towering person, kind of looks around, and tries to find the Sheriff, not answering Yarm's question.
Yarum, sorry, the half-orc, who is not yet introduced himself, then turns to the knight. He says, "Well then, my name is Yarum the Pious. It seems that we will no longer be popular here, but I'm glad to know that you, sir, have a noble heart. I only wish I had thought to intervene sooner. Perhaps, though, we should make ourselves scarce for more guards arrive."
And just as Yarum speaks those words, the Shire Reeve reappears, limping forward as fast as he can with his cane. Behind him, over a dozen armed guards following. As he spots you, he points at you so violently that locks of his greasy hair come down on his forehead. Behind him, you see, or Sir William would probably notice, someone on his horse. Your horse, Sir William. Someone is on your horse and bolting off down the road at maximum velocity. You recognize him as one of the Shire Reeve's men. Generally an errand boy, a messenger. And apart from this throng of over a dozen armed guards, you also spot a Templar encased from head to toe in steel, bearing the mark of the Inquisition, standing apart and staring at the unfolding events ominously.
"I do not know what you have done, but the sheriff don't like it. I suggest you rock the Casbah."
You what?
No, you don't get it. The sheriff don't like it. Rock the Casbah. Rock.
So what do you guys do? These guards are rapidly approaching and you're standing there.
But where are they approaching from?
The south.
Then we go north.
Sir William, well, since he's trained on the guards, does he know, like, if majority of these guards are, like, corrupt, or is it just a few of them that are, like, is there a way for him
Sir
to
William
reason with
has
them?
had a bad feeling about these guys, but more so than that, he knows that they fear and respect and do anything that the Shire Reeve says. And every second that passes, they are drawing increasingly close. So Essa has bolted,
Okay.
correct?
Essa?
Yeah, Essa's running north, you said?
Yeah.
Puff follows.
Alright, Sir William withdraws.
Yarum keeps up with Sir William, and he says, as they run, panting, "I've had a bad feeling about this town since the moment I arrived. They were not amenable to my preaching, and it seems like a hive of villainy. It would be best rid of it.
As you guys are running,
Best leave it."
as you guys start running, the guards start running after you. Some of you might be able to run a little bit faster than the guards, some of you a little bit slower than the guards. It's clear, though, you're gonna have to do something more than just running. Well, I mean, okay. The guards are giving chase. Are you gonna do something beyond just running to try to lose them? Let's go through each of you in turn. Let's go in initiative order. Let's start with Sir William, who, what's your move speed? 5? You're definitely not outpacing these guys. So what is your tactic?
They have my horse.
Your horse is long
Someone's
gone
gonna-
at this point, so it's
His
clearly
tactic is
bolting
to be
for another
pissed
town
off.
right now.
Yeah, there will be death because of that, that's for sure. Sir William is going to, I take it that there's no place to hide around the center of town.
Well, he can try to find a place to hide somewhere in the town if that's the tactic he'd like to employ. If he feels that he's good enough at hiding to outwit these guards.
No, not really. He's one, and there's gonna be a billion of them. He yells to the others and tells them to split up. That's not maybe the best idea.
Okay, let's go with
No, he
someone else to
tells
see
them
if
it's
someone else
best-
has an idea. Let's go to Essa. Does Essa have a clear idea of what she wants to do to lose the guards?
Essa wants to create obstacles so that we can gain some time as we're running away. So, like, if there's a food cart, you know, drop it. Knock it over so that there's food all over the place.
Okay, so she's going
That
to
sort of
be
thing.
creating obstacles that she'll be able to navigate, but the guards will have difficulty, correct?
Well, yeah, basically that 4 people will have an easier time sort of splitting up and running around, but a bunch of guards might be less agile and, more keen on retaining formation and stuff like that. Hopefully it'll slow them down, and not us down.
Alright, Puff?
Is
Okay,
no,
Yarum.
He's really
Yarum.
confused. He's gonna run.
Yarum, his only idea too was to knock barrels or something towards the guards, any kind of similar to Essa, basically throwing objects in their way behind them.
Okay, so why don't we get an athletics check from both Essa and Yarum. Let's go back to Sir William. Sir William, are you doing something? If you just want to straight up run and like try to outlast them, as in, someone's gonna get tired eventually, whether it's you or them. That's a tactic. Whether it's wise or not depends on how tough you are, I suppose, but...
I want to stand and fight, but I mean, if everyone, the other 3 of them are just running and throwing barrels all over the place, I'm definitely not going to stand against 12 guards. So
you're
I'm
the
gonna
only
run.
one who's actually able to know this, given you've been training these guards. You know that while you can take a few of them, you would surely fall to all of them.
Exactly. That's what I was suspecting. So, yeah, Sir William is just gonna run as fast as he can. He's gonna actually try to keep up with the others, and that's pretty much it.
Ooh.
Okay, so...
Puff would like to summon.
Sorry, just a minute there, Puff. So, are you saying that that Sir William is just doing absolutely nothing to try to maintain a lead? Like, again, I said, could this be an endurance check that you want to do to just be able to run for longer than them?
Well, he has his sword out, so I guess that, I mean, if he sees like things that he can, obstacles that he can get rid of, like any, I don't know, a rope that's tied up to a barrel that's hanging to see, and I don't know, anything, then he'll cut it down and try to block their way. Hell, actually, if he sees some kind of barricade that he can break down or not break down.
Okay,
but,
so
like,
go ahead and
break.
roll an athletics check. Puff,
Okay.
you sound like you had something interesting you wanted to do.
Puff would like to summon the winds of his homeland to push against hit the pursuers.
So while that might buy him some time, the time that he's going to have to take to stop and do that will give them time to catch a lead, so it might end up canceling itself out. Unless he's doing this to help the others and kind of stay behind and sacrifice himself type of thing.
No.
Don't do it, man.
No, don't do it.
We got this somehow.
The barrels, and the carts, and the spices, that'll all work out.
Just run on your short, stubby legs.
Runs on his short, stubby legs.
Essa would also like to perhaps make use of acrobatics to, like, I don't know, knock down clotheslines if she could get to them quickly while running. Parkour style.
Alright, well, first let's just finish off with Puff here. So is Puff, what is Puff doing then? Is he just flat out running?
Yes.
So you want to roll an endurance check just to see if you can outlast them?
Okay.
Alright, between three of you knocking down stuff and basically pulling a I picture this.
MacGyver?
No, I wouldn't say MacGyver. I'm picturing the scene in Godzilla where they knock down all that stuff and the balls and then the rolly things and the velociraptors, or not the velociraptors. Yeah, we're in Jurassic Park now. Are tumbling and slipping. The baby Godzillas are tumbling and slipping. So between them knocking everything down and just being able to tough it out longer, maybe having a lighter load, or maybe being a dwarf, being rugged and manly and trained to keep on running despite the legs cramping up, you manage to leave the guards behind and flee from Marrowhaven. The guards give chase for a while, but all the stuff you've done to knock stuff in their way has given you a considerable lead that eventually you manage to hide someplace off-road where you believe that you'll be safe and yeah, it can take a minute to catch your breath together.
Oh, wow. Was that all in one breath?
So, outside of town, you said?
Yes, you believe you are now safe someplace outside of town, hidden off the road.
Good.
I guess we should get out of here as soon as we can. I wasn't intending on staying here long anyway. Thank you, strangers, for saving my life.
Sir William asks the halfling, how is it exactly that they caught you? And why is it that they said that you stole? Because I've heard different.
I did not steal.
I believe it was that the entire town was corrupt. It's unfortunate, but I'm glad we all escaped with our lives. Marduk is watching over us.
I don't think they're corrupt as much as cowardly.
Well, we kind of just ran away.
Well, that's different. The entire town was just looked on as, you know, some people knew that this was common occurrence to have some fabricated crime so that there could be a public hanging. and everyone just
Yes.
watches. That is cowardly. Running for your life, not cowardly. That's intelligent.
Yaram nods. You are wise, young one. Little one, rather. You are wise,
Little
little
one.
one.
Maybe he thinks this is a human child.
Yeah, they're little people.
And so are you, tall one?
My name is Yaram. I am a priest, cleric of Marduk the Allfather. Might I know the names of the rest of you?
Essa. Just call me Essa.
I am Sir William Sedrich. Until recently, I was a trainer for those guards.
I am Puff Mostchin, and you are all very strange.
Awesome.
Indeed. Well met to the three of you. You seem like decent people. I know not where you plan on traveling, but away from that miserable town seems like a good idea to me.
And with that, the league is set, and the game is on. With our 4 random people who've come together, now fugitives from the law. Considering
Well, from that one town.
From the law. He was appointed by the king. You are now fugitives. You have broken the law, however unjust that law is. You're now fugitives. And as you guys plan how you're going to handle this, that's where we're going to end our session. We'd like to thank everyone for watching. Don't forget to thumbs up, comment, subscribe, follow the links below to join our community forums and join in on the world building. Until next time.
Thank you for tuning in.